The following is a paid program by the Whitney Law Firm. Welcome to Attorneys on Call, the program that gives you free legal information from the Whitney Law Firm. Now, here's your host, Drew Smith.
Welcome, and we are so glad that you're joining us here today for this edition of Attorneys on Call. If you're new to the program, welcome. And over the next half hour, we're going to talk about a lot of interesting topics. And if you're not familiar with the Whitney Law Firm, what they do is they represent people like you and me all across the state of North Carolina. Sometimes it's people that have been seriously injured in an automobile accident. And you can request a free DVD from the Whitney Law Firm by simply calling the 800 number on your screen or going to whitleylawfirm.com. You can also watch that free DVD online on the Whitney Law Firm website. They also represent people that are injured on the job and have a workers' compensation claim, and also people that may have need for an attorney when it comes to Social Security disability. So those are kind of the three focus areas, the areas where the Whitney Law Firm has been helping people since the 1970s all across the state of North Carolina. And in studio with us, Ann Oschner and Whitney Butcher from the Whitney Law Firm. Ladies, it's great to be with you today.
Good to be with you, Drew. Thanks, Drew.
Can you ladies talk a little bit about your experience? Bob Whitley started the firm many years ago, back in the 1970s. His two, sons are working with him, and you're part of the trial team of the Whitney Law Firm. But talk a little bit, if you can, Ann, about what you do and being advocates, as Bob has always said, for the people in North Carolina and representing people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We are advocates, and so I joined the law firm when I finished law school in 2011, so I've been practicing with Bob and Ben and Whit for a little over 5 years now, and we advocate for people every day, people who have been injured through no fault of their own. And so my specific role within the law firm, I handle the cases where we were not able to resolve it just between the parties, and a lawsuit needs to get filed.
So you couldn't mediate the case, and okay.
Well, we were not able to settle the case with the insurance company directly, and so a lawsuit needed to be filed, and so that's where I come in. I handle the bulk of the litigation for the law firm.
And there's a lot of work to be done in these cases, obviously, and Whitney, you're involved as well, being part of the trial team. Tell us a little bit about your experience. I know that one of your focus areas as well is with some of the mass tort claims and things like that.
Sure. So we approach every case that comes into the firm like it's going to have to go to trial. And that means that we got to get started on day one trying to preserve and collect evidence, whether it's a trooper's investigative file or a criminal court file, whether it's getting experts out to the scene for accident reconstruction and determining speed and angle of impact. All that can be really important when it comes time that the lawsuit's filed. And that's really where Ann steps in. And she and I are both lucky enough to work really closely with Bob on some of our cases that are in litigation. And he's got 40 years of trial experience. He's been doing this for such a long time. He's got great insight that they don't necessarily teach you in law school, but that's so critical to advocating for your clients when you're in front of 12 jurors.
And I think a lot of people have a misconception that a lot of folks feel like or think that all these cases go to trial. They don't, as we've heard you say and as Bob has said, but those cases that do go to trial, that's a serious situation. How do you work through that when you are talking to a client? And because that can be a scary thing for anybody, to go to trial.
You're exactly right. Because when we take a case to trial, you're putting the decision-making into the hands of 12 strangers. As my evidence professor in law school used to say, 12 folks with a driver's license. And so that is a frightening thing. And so that's where, the attorney-client relationship is really important. We need to make good, sound decisions about when it is appropriate to take a case to trial and when it's not.
Whitney, also, I would think that for many female clients, it would be important to them to have a female attorney. I mean, in some of these cases, that's very important, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got some of the dangerous drug cases where it's a feminine product like the talcum powder, baby powder that's causing ovarian cancer. That is an injury that is completely going to be with women, and it's
Right.
really important to talk to another woman. You've got cases also, though, where there may be an auto accident where a female has significant nerve damage that results in some female issues. And it's important that you have the option to talk to another female attorney about your injuries, your case, what's happening to you from that same vantage point, because we can understand it, you know, a little better than some of the men can.
I want to mention that operators are standing by right now. You can call the 800 number, go to whitleylawfirm.com, but we do have operators standing by live right now to answer your call. Leave your information with the operator, and one of the attorneys from Whitley Law Firm will be calling you back. Typically when someone calls the firm because they've been injured in a car wreck, or maybe they fell and got injured on the job, they're not sure if they need an attorney or not. We want to mention that that initial call is always free, right? That's a free consultation.
That's absolutely right, Drew. Whitney and I both, all the lawyers in the law firm, we take multiple calls all day long. And a lot of times people just kind of need some direction, some general guidance to make sure that they understand what their rights are and that they're, you know, being upheld. And so, yeah, we talk to folks all day long. You know, they don't necessarily need us, but we're free. We're more than willing to give them the free advice that they need to handle the situation.
And what you don't want to do is hurry and settle your case, right? So you want to make sure that you've recovered from any injuries that have happened, and make sure that you know if you're going to have a permanent injury. Sometimes insurance companies try and get folks to settle their cases as quickly and early as possible, and that's not always in your best interest. So that's another time where it's important to talk to an attorney before you do anything.
Oh, that happened to me one time. I was involved in a wreck. A woman ran a red light, T-boned me. Luckily, I was not hurt. But the next day, her insurance company was calling me, offering me like $500 to settle the case, and yet my car was smashed up. And I did have some medical bills after that for a whiplash and different things. But you're right. And at least from watching the program, I knew enough to not just settle and call an attorney and have that worked on.
Yeah. I always like to say it's like you need to learn the rules of the game that you now find yourself in. I make the analogy to, like, I don't know the rules of hockey. I wouldn't be very good if I tried to play a hockey game, you know. So these car accidents, we handle it every day. Most folks have not. They need to know the rules of the game that they now found themselves in.
A lot of us will watch lawyer shows on TV and think that that's real life, but I think the two ladies here are going to tell us in the next segment that's not necessarily the case, but they're going to be talking about what they do to prepare cases that do go to trial, because those are usually very serious cases. Back with more of this Attorneys on Call in just a moment.